Captain Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the starship Unity, watching the alien world grow larger on the viewing screen. After 200 years of faster-than-light travel capability, humanity was finally making formal contact with the oldest civilization in the galaxy. The Velthari had agreed to meet Earth's diplomatic mission, and everyone hoped this would be humanity's entrance into the Galactic Council. The planet below looked ancient. Cities sprawled across continents, their buildings made of materials that seemed to glow with inner light. Some structures reached into the clouds while others dove deep into the ocean. Everything about this world spoke of age and wisdom beyond human understanding. Ambassador Ji-won walked onto the bridge, her diplomatic uniform crisp and perfect. She had spent 30 years preparing for this moment. Every language course, every cultural study, every simulation had led to this day. She carried with her Earth's application to join the Council, a document representing the hopes of 10 billion humans. "How long until we dock?" Ji-won asked. Hyunwoo checked his instruments. 20 minutes. The Velthari have assigned us a landing platform in their capital city. The ship descended through the atmosphere smoothly. As they got closer, Hyunwoo could see the true scale of the Velthari civilization. The buildings weren't just tall. They were massive beyond anything humans had built. Some looked millions of years old, their surfaces worn by time but still standing strong. The Unity landed on a platform that seemed to float in the air without any visible support. Hyunwoo had read about Velthari technology, but seeing it in person was different. Everything here made human science look like children playing with blocks. Ji-won gathered her team. Besides Hyunwoo, there was scientist Dae-hyun, military officer Soo-jin, and young diplomat Min-ah. They were Earth's best, chosen from thousands of applicants. Each had trained for years for this mission. "Remember," Ji-won said, "we represent all of humanity today. Be respectful, be honest, and show them we're ready to join the galactic community." They walked down the ramp together. The air outside smelled sweet and strange. The gravity was lighter than Earth's, making each step feel bouncy. Waiting for them were 3 Velthari. The aliens were tall and thin, with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. They had 4 arms and large eyes that seemed to see everything at once. Their faces were hard to read, showing no emotion that humans could recognize. "Welcome, humans," one of them said in perfect English. "I am Elder Council Member Thel. We have been expecting you." Ji-won bowed respectfully. "Thank you for receiving us, Elder Thel. We are honored to be here." Thel gestured with 2 of his arms. "Follow us. The Council will see you now." They walked through corridors of impossible beauty. The walls showed images of 1,000 worlds, civilizations rising and falling, stars being born and dying. The Velthari had witnessed it all. They had been exploring space when humans were still living in caves. The council chamber was enormous. Hundreds of Velthari sat in rows that spiraled up toward the ceiling. At the center was a platform where Ji-won and her team were directed to stand. Lights focused on them from all directions. Ji-won held up Earth's application. "Honored members of the Galactic Council, humanity comes before you with humility and hope. We have achieved faster-than-light travel. We have unified our world under a single government. We have eliminated war and poverty. We ask to join the Council and contribute to the peace and prosperity of the galaxy." The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Elder Thel spoke, and his words chilled everyone to the bone. "Your application is denied." Ji-won felt like she had been punched in the stomach. "But why?" "We've met all the requirements. We've proven ourselves peaceful and united." Thel's colors shifted to dark purple. "You have proven nothing. Earth is quarantine territory. It has been marked as such for 3 million years. Humanity will not be granted council membership. You should not have come here." Dae-hyun stepped forward. 3 million years? That's impossible. Humans didn't even exist 3 million years ago. Modern humans only evolved 200,000 years ago. "We are aware," Thel said coldly. "The quarantine was not placed because of humans." The chamber erupted in whispered conversations. Ji-won tried to understand what she was hearing. "If not because of us, then why?" Thel looked at her with those huge eyes. "Because Earth is not just inhabited by humans. It never has been. There are others on your world, others far more dangerous than you can imagine. Until you deal with them, Earth will remain isolated." Soo-jin spoke up, her military training keeping her voice steady. "What others?" "We've explored every continent, every ocean. Earth has many species, but only one intelligent species. Only humans. You are blind, another council member said. Or perhaps they have kept you blind on purpose. Earth harbors multiple apex species, multiple intelligent civilizations. The Velthari have known this since we first surveyed your world millions of years ago. We marked it as too dangerous for contact. Minna, the youngest of the team, asked the question everyone was thinking. If there are others, why haven't we seen them? Why don't we know about them? Thel stood, his full height towering over the humans. That is what makes them dangerous. They hide, they watch, they wait. And they have kept their existence secret from you for your entire history. A species that can hide so completely, that can manipulate an entire planetary civilization without being detected, is not something the Council wants in our membership. Ji-won felt her mission crumbling around her. Everything humanity had worked for, everything they had achieved, meant nothing in the face of this accusation. Show us proof. Show us evidence of these hidden species. We will show you what we know, Thel said, and then you will leave. You will return to Earth and search for the truth. When you have found it, when you have dealt with whatever hides on your world, then perhaps we will reconsider. The council chamber's walls changed. Images appeared, ancient photographs and sensor readings from millions of years ago. Hyunwoo stared at them in shock. The images showed Earth from space, but different signatures appeared on the scans. Multiple heat sources that looked like cities but not human cities. Energy readings from deep underground and beneath the oceans. Structures that didn't match any human architecture. This data is old, Dae-hyun protested. Millions of years old. Even if something was there once, it's gone now. Is it? Thel asked. We have current data as well. Anomalies in your ocean depths. Energy signatures from cave systems that go deeper than humans have ever explored. Unexplained disappearances in certain regions. Radio signals that don't match human patterns. All of this suggests the others are still there, still hiding, still watching you. The meeting ended shortly after. Ji-won and her team were escorted back to their ship in silence. As they lifted off from the Velthari homeworld, everyone sat quietly, trying to process what they had learned. Hyunwoo finally broke the silence. Do you think they're telling the truth? Ji-won stared out at the stars. The Velthari don't lie. They're too old, too wise for deception. If they say there are others on Earth, then there are others on Earth. So what do we do? Minna asked. We go home, Ji-won said firmly, and we find them. Whatever is hiding on Earth, whoever has been living alongside humanity in secret, we're going to find them, and we're going to get answers. The Unity turned toward home, carrying a crew with a new mission. They had gone seeking acceptance into the galactic community. Instead, they had discovered that they didn't even fully know their own world. The journey back to Earth would take months. Dae-hyun spent that time analyzing the data the Velthari had provided. Soo-jin began planning search operations for the mysterious hidden civilizations. Minna studied human mythology and folklore, looking for clues. And Ji-won prepared her report for Earth's government, knowing that her words would change everything humanity thought they knew about their own planet. The Unity returned to Earth 6 months after leaving the Velthari homeworld. The news of the rejection spread quickly through every city, every nation. Humanity had been so sure they would join the Galactic Council. Instead, they came back with impossible claims about hidden species living secretly on their own planet. Dae-hyun stood in his laboratory at the Global Science Institute, surrounded by screens showing data from the Velthari. He had barely slept since returning. Every piece of information pointed to the same conclusion, but his scientific mind refused to accept it without proof. Look at this, he said to his assistant Ye-jin. The Velthari scans show unusual thermal signatures in the Mariana Trench. But we've sent submarines there dozens of times. We've mapped every meter of that trench. Hyejin studied the data carefully. Maybe we weren't looking for the right things. If something down there wanted to stay hidden, it could avoid our submarines. That's the part that bothers me, Dae-hyun said. Any species smart enough to hide from us for millions of years would be incredibly advanced. Why would they hide? Why not make contact? He pulled up another file. And it's not just the oceans. There are anomalies in cave systems all over the world. The Velthari data shows energy readings coming from caves that supposedly have no outlets. No way for anyone to live there. Heejin zoomed in on one location. This is near Jeju Island. There are extensive lava tube caves there. Some haven't been fully explored. Then that's where we start, Dae-hyun said. While Dae-hyun worked in his lab, Ji-won was in meetings with Earth's government. The World Council wanted answers, and they wanted them fast. The rejection by the Galactic Council had embarrassed humanity on the galactic stage. Ambassador G1, the council president, said, "Are we really supposed to believe there are secret civilizations on Earth? Hidden species we've never detected?" G1 stood firm. "The Velthari have no reason to lie. They showed us data spanning millions of years. Something is on Earth, something we've missed. Then we need to find it," the president declared. "I'm authorizing a global search operation. Every anomaly will be investigated. Every unexplained phenomenon will be examined." The operation began within days. Sujin led military teams to various locations around the world. They searched caves, explored deep ocean trenches, and investigated areas where strange things had been reported throughout history. Dae-hyun focused on the scientific approach. He studied ancient myths and legends from every culture. Dragons, spirits, demons, angels, underground dwellers, sea monsters. Every civilization had stories about non-human intelligent beings. What if the myths were real? He asked Hyojin one evening. What if ancient humans did encounter these other species, but over time the stories became legends? He pulled up a map showing locations where myths were strongest. Dragons in Asia, elves and dwarves in Europe, spirit beings in the Americas, sea peoples in Pacific Islands. The map lit up with thousands of reports spanning human history. "There's a pattern here," Dae-hyun said excitedly. "Look at the density of reports. They cluster around deep caves, ocean trenches, and remote mountain regions. Exactly where the Velthari data shows anomalies." Hyojin nodded slowly. "So what's the connection? Why would multiple species all choose to hide?" "Maybe they didn't choose," Dae-hyun suggested. "Maybe something forced them to hide. Or maybe they've been protecting themselves from us." The breakthrough came 3 months into the search. Sujin's team was exploring a cave system in the Andes Mountains when their equipment started malfunctioning. Cameras went dark. Radio signals got scrambled. It was as if something was actively blocking their technology. Sujin ordered her team to proceed carefully. They went deeper into the caves using only simple lights and basic tools. The caves went down far deeper than any map showed. The temperature dropped despite being so far underground. Then they found the door. It wasn't made of stone or metal. It seemed to be carved from crystal that glowed with soft blue light. Strange symbols covered its surface, symbols that didn't match any human language. Sujin reported back immediately. Within hours, Dae-hyun was on a plane to the Andes. He had to see this door himself. Standing before it, Dae-hyun felt his scientific worldview crumbling. This was real. The Velthari had been telling the truth. Something had built this door, and whatever was behind it had stayed hidden from humanity for thousands of years. "We need to open it," he said. Sujin shook her head. "That could be dangerous. We have no idea what's on the other side." "We also have no choice," Dae-hyun argued. "This is why the Galactic Council rejected us. We need to know who we share our planet with." They studied the door for days. The symbols seemed to be some kind of mathematical language. Dae-hyun worked with linguists and mathematicians to decode them. Slowly, patterns emerged. The symbols described harmonic frequencies, specific sound waves. "It's a lock," Dae-hyun realized. "But instead of a key, it uses sound." They brought in acoustic equipment and began testing frequencies. On the 7th day, they found the right combination. The door hummed, vibrated, and slowly swung inward. Beyond the door was a tunnel. But this wasn't a natural cave. The walls were perfectly smooth, carved with incredible precision. Lights embedded in the ceiling activated as they approached, illuminating a path that led deeper underground. Dae-hyun led a small team forward. Sujin came with him, along with Hyojin and several other scientists. They walked for what felt like hours, going deeper and deeper into the earth. Finally, the tunnel opened into an enormous cavern, and there, spread out before them, was a city. The city glowed with bioluminescent light. Buildings rose from the cavern floor, their architecture unlike anything human. Some structures seemed to grow from the rock itself, organic and flowing. Others were geometric and precise, made of materials that shimmered with inner fire. And there were people. They weren't human, but they weren't completely alien either. Some looked almost human, but with features that were just slightly wrong. Others were more obviously different, with skin that reflected light like scales or eyes that glowed in the darkness. One figure approached them. She was tall and elegant, with silver hair that moved like water. Her eyes were golden, and when she smiled, her teeth were slightly too sharp. "Welcome," she said in perfect Korean. "We've been expecting you, though we had hoped it would take a bit longer for you to find us." Dae-hyun's voice shook. "Who are you?" "My name is Yuri," she said, "and I am what your ancestors called a dragon. Though we prefer the term we gave ourselves long ago. We are the Scaled Ones, first intelligent species of Earth, and we have been hiding from humanity for 10,000 years. The revelation hit Dae-hyun like a physical blow. Dragons were real. They lived under the earth, and they had been hiding from humans. Why? He managed to ask. Why hide from us? Yuri's expression became sad. Because you are young and violent. Because you destroy what you don't understand. We watched you rise from primitive tribes to nuclear weapons in just a few thousand years. We saw what you did to other species. We decided it was safer to disappear than to risk war with humanity. There are more? Hee-jin asked. More hidden species? Many more, Yuri confirmed. The Scaled Ones are just one group. There are the Deep Ones in the oceans. The Sky Folk in the highest mountains. The Shadowkin who live in the spaces between spaces. Earth has always been home to many intelligent species. Humanity just never knew. Sujin stepped forward, her military bearing strong despite the shock. The Velthari told us about you. They said your existence is why Earth can't join the Galactic Council. Yuri nodded. Yes, the Velthari are wise. They know that a world with multiple hidden civilizations is unstable. They fear we might use humanity as pawns, or that we might emerge and cause galactic problems. Dae-hyun's mind raced with questions. How many of you are there? What do you want? Have you been manipulating humanity? So many questions, Yuri said with a small smile. Come, the Council of Species is gathering. You will meet representatives from all the hidden peoples of Earth, and then we will explain everything. They followed Yuri deeper into the underground city. Dae-hyun recorded everything on his equipment, knowing that the world above needed to see this. Humanity's understanding of their own planet was about to change forever. As they walked, Dae-hyun thought about all the implications. If hidden species had existed alongside humanity for thousands of years, how much of human history had they influenced? How many myths and legends were actually true? And most importantly, could humanity and these other species learn to coexist openly? The answers to those questions would determine not just Earth's future, but whether humanity could ever take its place among the stars. News of the underground city spread across Earth faster than anyone expected. Dae-hyun's recordings were broadcast to every nation, every city, every home. Humanity watched in stunned silence as Yuri, the dragon woman, explained that Earth had never belonged to humans alone. The world's reaction was mixed. Some people were excited, eager to meet the hidden species. Others were afraid, worried about what these revelations meant for human safety. Religious leaders debated whether these beings were divine or demonic. Scientists argued about biology and evolution. Politicians worried about territory and sovereignty. But the hidden species were no longer hiding. In the days following the discovery, more cities revealed themselves. Sujin stood on the deck of a naval vessel, watching the ocean before her bubble and churn. Then rising from the depths came structures of coral and crystal. An entire city emerged from the Mariana Trench, brought to the surface by beings the Velthari had called the Deep Ones. The Deep Ones looked like humans adapted for ocean life. They had webbed fingers and toes, skin that shimmered with blue and green scales and gills along their necks. Their eyes were large and dark, built for seeing in the deepest parts of the ocean. A delegation swam to the surface and climbed onto the ship's deck. Their leader was a woman named Haewon, though Sujin wondered if that was her real name or one chosen to make humans comfortable. We have lived in the depths for longer than humanity has existed, Haewon said, her voice musical and strange. We watched your ships pass overhead, heard your submarines searching. We stayed hidden because the ocean is ours and we did not wish to share. Sujin kept her military composure, but inside she was reeling. How many of you are there? Millions, Haewon answered simply. We have cities in every ocean, communities in every deep trench. We have farms and schools and families just like you. We are simply better at keeping secrets. In the Himalayas, climbers reported seeing buildings appearing on peaks that had been empty the day before. The sky folk descended from the highest mountains, revealing that they had lived in the clouds and thin air for millennia. They were tall and thin, with hollow bones like birds and skin that was almost translucent. Their representative, a man named Tae Yang, explained that his people had evolved to breathe the thin air of extreme altitudes. They built their cities on the highest peaks and in the clouds themselves, using technology that made structures float in the air. "We are the Watchers," Tae Yang said when he met with Earth's government leaders. "We have observed humanity's rise from our homes in the sky. We chose not to interfere, not to be known, because we feared your weapons could reach us. But the most unsettling revelation came from the Shadow Kin. They didn't emerge from caves or oceans or mountains. They simply appeared one day in the middle of cities, as if they had always been there and humans just hadn't noticed." Minna was the first human official to speak with one. She was walking home from a government building when a person stepped out of an alley, but they didn't walk normally. They seemed to slide through shadows, moving in ways that hurt to watch. The Shadowkin looked mostly human, but their edges were blurry, like they weren't quite solid. Their eyes were completely black, and their voices seemed to come from everywhere at once. "We are the oldest," the Shadowkin said. Their name was Bora, or at least that's what they told Minna. "We existed before the others, before the scaled ones, before the deep ones. We live in the spaces between, in the darkness that exists even in light." Minna tried to stay calm. "Why reveal yourselves now?" "Because hiding is no longer possible," Bora replied. "The Velthari have told you we exist. The scaled ones have shown themselves. Soon all of Earth will know the truth. We choose to reveal ourselves on our terms rather than be discovered." Within 3 months, Earth had gone from believing humans were alone to knowing they shared their world with at least 4 other intelligent species, and those were just the ones who had revealed themselves. Rumors spread of others still hiding, waiting to see how humanity would react. Ji-Wan was appointed to lead the First Contact Committee, a new organization designed to manage relations between humans and the hidden species. Her office was in Geneva, in a building hastily constructed to accommodate the needs of all species. The meetings were challenging. Each species had different needs, different perspectives, different fears. Yuri represented the scaled ones. She argued that humans needed to be taught carefully about the other species' existence. "You are impulsive," she said at one meeting. "You react with fear and violence. We need guarantees that humans won't attack our cities." Haewon spoke for the deep ones. "The oceans are ours. We claim them. Human ships and submarines must ask permission before entering our territories." This caused immediate tension. Human representatives argued that the oceans had been international waters for centuries. Haewon's response was simple and chilling. "Your centuries are nothing to us. We have lived in these waters for millions of years. They belong to us." Taeyang was more diplomatic. "The Skyfolk do not seek conflict. We only wish to be left alone in our mountain homes. We will help humanity if needed, share our knowledge of weather and atmosphere, but we want our sovereignty respected." Bora, representing the Shadowkin, made the strangest demands. "We exist in your cities already. We always have. We move through shadows, live in the spaces you don't notice. We only ask that you acknowledge our presence and don't try to hunt us." The negotiations lasted months. Sujin was assigned to work with military leaders from all species to develop security protocols. How would borders work when one species lived underground, another in the oceans, and another in shadows? Daehyun focused on scientific exchange. The hidden species had technologies far beyond human understanding. The scaled ones could grow buildings from living crystal. The deep ones had mastered energy generation from ocean currents. The Skyfolk could control weather patterns, and the Shadowkin understood physics in ways that made human scientists' heads hurt. "We could learn so much from each other," Daehyun argued in one committee meeting. "Imagine combining human innovation with scaled one biotechnology, or human computers with Skyfolk atmospheric science." But Yuri was cautious. "Your species learns quickly, perhaps too quickly. You went from stone tools to nuclear weapons in 10,000 years. What will you do with our knowledge?" It was Minna who found a path forward. She was young, born after humanity had achieved spaceflight, and she saw the situation differently than older diplomats. "We're all from Earth," she said at a crucial meeting where tensions were high. "Every species here evolved on this planet. We all have the same home. Yes, we're different. Yes, we've been separate for thousands of years. But the Velthari won't accept Earth into the Galactic Council until we prove we can coexist peacefully." She looked around the room at representatives from all 5 species. Don't you want to see the stars? Don't you want to meet other worlds? We can't do that divided. We can only do it together. Her words resonated. Yuri nodded slowly. Heywan's expression softened. Even Bora, whose emotions were always hard to read, seemed to respond positively. The child speaks wisdom, Bora said. We have hidden for so long that we forgot why we hid. We feared humanity's violence, but perhaps it is time to see if humanity has grown. Over the following weeks, agreements were reached. The oceans would be shared territory with specific areas designated for Deep One cities and others for human use. The mountains would be recognized as Skyfolk territory, but humans could visit with permission. The Scaled Ones would maintain their underground cities but establish embassies on the surface, and the Shadowkin would be acknowledged as citizens of Earth with the same rights as anyone else, despite their unusual nature. It wasn't perfect. There were protests from humans who feared the other species. There were incidents where territorial disputes led to violence, but slowly, carefully, the different species of Earth began to learn to live together openly. Su Jin stood in her office one evening, looking at maps that now showed not just human cities, but also the territories of 4 other species. The world had become infinitely more complex but also more interesting. Do you think it will work? Her assistant asked. Su Jin thought about the question. I don't know, but we have to try. If we can't make peace on our own world, we'll never be ready for the galaxy. The real test was coming. Jiwan had received a message from the Velthari. They wanted to send observers to Earth to see how the different species were managing their new relationships. If the Velthari were satisfied, Earth might get another chance at joining the Galactic Council. But that would require all species working together, presenting a united front to the galaxy. It would require trust between groups that had been separate for thousands of years. It would require humans to accept that they were not alone and never had been. The awakening had happened. Now came the hard part, learning to live together in the light. The Velthari observers arrived on Earth 6 months after the hidden species revealed themselves. Their ship landed in Geneva, and Elder Thel himself led the delegation. His presence showed how seriously the Galactic Council took Earth's situation. Jiwan greeted them personally, along with representatives from all 5 of Earth's intelligent species. It was the first time humans, Scaled Ones, Deep Ones, Skyfolk, and Shadowkin had stood together in an official capacity. Thel looked at the assembled group with his large, unreadable eyes. This is unexpected. We believed it would take you decades to reach this point, perhaps centuries. We were motivated, Jiwan said diplomatically. The truth was more complicated. The 6 months had been filled with conflicts, negotiations, and painful compromises. But humanity and the hidden species had managed to create a fragile peace. Now they had to prove it to the galaxy. Thel's team spent weeks observing Earth. They visited human cities and Scaled One underground settlements. They dove into the ocean to see Deep One cities and climbed mountains to meet the Skyfolk. They even managed to observe the Shadowkin, though that proved most difficult since the Shadowkin naturally avoided being watched. During this time, Minna was assigned as the Velthari delegation's guide. She showed them schools where human and Scaled One children learned together. She took them to research facilities where scientists from all species worked on joint projects. She demonstrated how Earth's different peoples were learning to coexist. One evening, Thel asked Minna to walk with him through Geneva's streets. The alien moved slowly, observing everything with intense focus. You are young, Thel said. Tell me, how do the young humans feel about sharing their world? Minna considered her answer carefully. Most are excited. We grew up knowing we were alone in the universe, or so we thought. Finding out we shared Earth with others was shocking, but also wonderful. The older generations are having more trouble adjusting. And do you fear them? The Scaled Ones who could tear you apart? The Deep Ones who control the oceans? The Shadowkin who move through your cities unseen? Sometimes, Minna admitted. But they probably fear us too. Humans have nuclear weapons and armies. We've shown we can be violent. Fear works both ways. Thel made a sound that might have been approval. You understand more than most. Tell me, has anyone explained to you why the hidden species stayed hidden? They said they feared human violence. That is part of the truth, Thel said. But not all of it. Would you like to know the full story? The real reason Earth was quarantined? Minna nodded eagerly. Thel gestured, and suddenly they were surrounded by holographic images. Minna gasped as she saw Earth from millions of years ago. Long ago, Thel began, the Velthari first visited your world. This was before humans evolved, when your planet was dominated by other species. We found something remarkable. Earth was producing intelligent life at an unprecedented rate. The holograms showed ancient Earth, with creatures Minna didn't recognize. Some looked like the scaled ones, but more primitive. Others resembled the deep ones, but different. Most worlds produce one intelligent species, Thel continued. Perhaps two if they are lucky. But Earth was different. Your planet's environment, its diverse ecosystems, its unique position in the solar system, all combined to create ideal conditions for intelligence to emerge repeatedly. He waved a hand, and the holograms changed. The scaled ones evolved first in the warm periods of Earth's early history. Then came the deep ones adapting to the oceans. The sky folk emerged in the high mountains, and the shadowkin, we still don't fully understand their origins. But why did they hide? Minna asked. Because they made a pact, Thel said, with us. The hologram showed Velthari ships landing on ancient Earth. It showed meetings between the Velthari and representatives of the hidden species. 3 million years ago, we made an agreement with Earth's intelligent species. We told them humanity was coming. We had studied your world's evolutionary patterns and predicted that primates would eventually develop intelligence. We offered the hidden species a choice. Thel's colors shifted to dark blue. They could reveal themselves to humanity as you evolved, guide you, shape your development, or they could hide, let humanity develop naturally and see what you became without interference. They chose to hide. Minna felt her understanding of history shifting. Why not guide us? Because the Velthari asked them to, Thel said simply. We were curious. We wanted to see what humanity would become on its own. The hidden species agreed, but only if we promised to quarantine Earth. They didn't want other galactic civilizations interfering either. So the quarantine was to protect our development, Minna said slowly. Yes, Earth became a grand experiment. How would humanity evolve knowing nothing of the other species sharing their world? How would 5 intelligent species develop on one planet in complete isolation from each other? The answers would tell us much about intelligence itself. Thel dismissed the holograms, but the experiment had to end eventually. We decided that if humanity achieved faster-than-light travel on their own, we would reveal the truth. Your species proved clever enough to reach the stars, so it was time for you to learn you were not alone on your own world. Minna struggled to process this. So the rejection at the Galactic Council, that was planned? We needed a catalyst, Thel admitted. Simply telling you about the hidden species wouldn't have had the same impact. By rejecting you and making you search for answers, we ensured that the revelation would lead to change rather than conflict. That's manipulative, Minna said, anger creeping into her voice. Yes, Thel agreed without shame, but necessary. If we had simply announced the truth, humanity might have reacted with violence. By making you discover it yourselves, by making you work through the shock and fear, we increase the chances of peaceful coexistence. He looked at her directly, and it worked. Earth's 5 species are learning to live together. You are ahead of our best predictions. This is why I am here personally, to see this success and report to the Council. Minna took a deep breath. What happens now? That depends on what you do next, Thel said. The hidden species must explain their side of the ancient pact to humanity. Full honesty must exist between all of Earth's peoples. Only then can you truly unite. The next day, a global summit was called. Every nation sent representatives. Every hidden species sent delegations. It was broadcast live across Earth, reaching billions of viewers. Yuri stood at the podium, her silver hair shining under the lights. She had asked to speak first, to explain on behalf of all the hidden species. People of Earth, she began. Humans who are our brothers and sisters in this world. We owe you an explanation. We owe you the truth. She told them about the ancient pact, about the Velthari's experiment, about the deliberate choice to hide. Many humans in the audience looked shocked, even betrayed. We watched you grow, Yuri continued. We saw your first cities, your first writings, your first wars. We could have revealed ourselves at any time. We could have helped you, guided you, or even stopped you when you became too dangerous. Her expression was pained, but we didn't. We honored the pact. We stayed hidden even when it was hard, even when we wanted to reach out. We watched you suffer through wars and plagues and disasters that we might have prevented. That guilt weighs on us. Haywan took the podium next. The deep ones have a saying. The ocean keeps its secrets. We believed we were protecting you by staying hidden. We feared that revealing ourselves would disrupt your development. Now we wonder if we were wrong. Taeyang spoke about watching humanity from the mountains. The Skyfolk saw your potential. We saw how quickly you learned, how fast you grew. We were afraid of you, yes, but also fascinated. We wanted to see what you would become. Bora's words were cryptic as always. The shadow can exist in between. We are neither here nor there. We watched from the spaces you don't see. We know humanity better than you know yourselves. And what we learned is that you are stronger than you believe. Then came time for human leaders to respond. The president of the World Council stood slowly. The chamber was silent. I speak for humanity, she said carefully, and I say this. We are angry. We feel betrayed. You could have helped us through so much pain. You could have prevented so much suffering. Yuri bowed her head, accepting the criticism. But, the president continued, I also understand. You made a choice 3 million years ago based on the best information you had. You honored a pact with an elder species, and in the end, perhaps you were right. If you had revealed yourselves too early, we might have reacted with fear and violence. She looked at the representatives of all 5 species. What matters now is not the past. What matters is what we do next. Do we let this revelation divide us, or do we move forward together? The chamber erupted in debate. Some delegates argued for continued anger and demands for reparations. Others called for immediate unity. The discussion lasted hours with passionate voices from all sides. It was Dae-hyun who finally proposed a solution. Let's treat this as a new beginning. The pact is over. The hiding is done. From this moment forward, we are all simply people of Earth, regardless of species. We face the galaxy together or not at all. The vote was close, but it passed. Earth's 5 species would move forward as equals, sharing the planet openly and working together to prove to the Vel 1 year after the hidden species revealed themselves. Earth had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Cities now had sections built specifically for different species. Ocean ports served as embassies for the deep ones. Mountains had landing platforms for the skyfolk. Underground connections linked human subways to scaled 1 tunnels. And the Shadowkin simply existed everywhere, no longer pretending to be invisible. Hyunwoo commanded a new ship, the Harmony. It was built using technology from all 5 species. The hull used scaled 1 crystal growing techniques. The engines were powered by deep 1 ocean current generators adapted for space. The navigation systems incorporated skyfolk atmospheric knowledge. And the Shadowkin had contributed something they called phase shift technology that humans were still trying to understand. The ship represented the best of what Earth could offer, and it was about to make the most important journey in human history. All systems ready, Hyunwoo reported from the bridge. His crew was mixed species. His first officer was a scaled one named Min Seo. His chief engineer was a deep one called Jun Ho. A skyfolk named Subin handled navigation, and somehow a shadowkin named Dongwoo managed communications, though exactly where he was at any given moment was unclear. Ji-won walked onto the bridge, wearing a new uniform that combined human, scaled 1, deep 1 skyfolk and shadowkin design elements. She was Earth's ambassador now, not just humanity's. The Velthari are expecting us, she said. Elder Thel sent confirmation this morning. The full Galactic Council will hear our application. Dae-hyun was running final checks on the ship's systems. Over the past year, he had worked more closely with the other species than any other human scientist. He had learned more than he ever thought possible. The data cores are loaded, he reported. We have evidence of everything we've accomplished. Joint cities, cooperative research, mixed education systems, cultural exchange programs. If this doesn't convince the council, nothing will. Sujin was coordinating security, which meant working with military representatives from all species. The scaled ones had warriors who could move through Earth like water. The deep ones had defenders who controlled ocean creatures. The skyfolk had scouts who could ride wind currents. And the Shadowkin had operatives who could appear anywhere without warning. Security teams confirm readiness, Sujin said, though I still think bringing military representatives might send the wrong message. It sends exactly the right message, Mina countered. She was part of the diplomatic team now. Having proven herself invaluable during the negotiations, we're showing that even our warriors can work together. That's powerful. The Harmony launched from Earth orbit to cheers from across the planet. Every nation broadcast the departure. Every species watched with hope and pride. This wasn't just humanity reaching for the stars anymore. This was Earth reaching for the stars. The journey to the Velthari homeworld took 3 weeks with the new hybrid engines. During that time, the crew worked together seamlessly. They ate meals together in a dining area designed to accommodate everyone's needs. They trained together in exercise rooms adapted for different biologies. They talked, laughed, argued, and became a true crew rather than just representatives of different species. Hyunwoo watched it all with satisfaction. This is what Thel wanted to see, he told Jiwon one evening. Not just cooperation, but genuine friendship. I hope it's enough, Jiwon replied. The Velthari standards are high. When they arrived at the Velthari homeworld, they received immediate permission to land. But this time, instead of 1 ship, Earth sent 5. Each species had their own vessel, all flying in formation, all working together. The landing was coordinated perfectly. The ships touched down simultaneously on 5 platforms surrounding the council chamber. The visual impact was intentional and powerful. Elder Thel met them personally, along with other council members. His colors shifted through patterns that the crew had learned meant surprise and approval. You have grown much in 1 year, Thel observed. We had good motivation, Jiwon replied. We won our place among the stars. The presentation to the Galactic Council took hours. Jiwon spoke first, explaining humanity's journey from rejection to acceptance of the truth. She didn't hide the difficulties, the conflicts, the painful adjustments. We could have reacted with fear and violence, she said honestly. Many of us wanted to. But we chose a different path, Yuri spoke next, her voice strong and clear. The scaled ones have lived in hiding for 10,000 years. Coming into the light was terrifying, but we learned that hiding was worse than facing our fears. The humans surprised us. They are violent, yes, but also incredibly adaptable and forgiving. Haewon described the Deep One's experience. We controlled the oceans for millions of years. Sharing them with humanity meant giving up power we'd held since before humans existed, but we learned that sharing made the oceans richer, not poorer. Human technology combined with our knowledge has created possibilities neither species could achieve alone. Tae-yang spoke about the Sky Folks' observations. We watched from above for so long that we forgot what it meant to be part of a community. Humans reminded us. They reached out to us not with weapons but with wonder. They wanted to learn from us and they had things to teach us in return. Bora's speech was the shortest and strangest. The Shadowkin exist in spaces between. We have always been separate. But humans showed us that choosing to be together is stronger than being forced apart. We choose Earth, we choose unity. Then came the evidence. Daehyun presented scientific breakthroughs achieved through cooperation, new energy systems, medical advances, agricultural improvements. Each discovery came from multiple species working together. Sujin showed how Earth's military forces had integrated. Not merged, but integrated. Each species maintained its own security forces, but they trained together, planned together, and could deploy together if needed. Mina presented cultural achievements. Music that combined human instruments with scaled 1 harmonic resonance. Art that mixed Deep One water sculpture with human painting. Architecture that blended all 5 species styles into something new and beautiful. We're not perfect, Mina admitted. We still have conflicts. There are humans who fear the other species. There are scaled ones who think humans are too aggressive. Deep ones who want the oceans back to themselves. Sky folk who miss their isolation. Shadowkin who prefer hiding. But we're working through it together. The council deliberated for 3 days. During that time, Earth's delegation toured the Velthari homeworld. They met other galactic species, some who had been in the council for millions of years. Many of the alien species were fascinated by Earth's situation. One species, ancient insectoid beings, told Jiwon they had never heard of a world with 5 intelligent species coexisting peacefully. Most worlds where multiple intelligent species evolved experienced extinction wars, the insectoid explained. One species always dominated the others. Your world managed to keep all 5 species alive and independent. That alone is remarkable. On the 3rd day, Elder Thel summoned them back to the council chamber. The 5 delegations entered together, standing in formation before the assembled council. Thel's colors shifted to gold, which the humans had learned meant something important was coming. The Galactic Council has made its decision regarding Earth's application for membership. Jiwon held her breath. Beside her, Yuri's hand found hers. Haewon moved closer to both of them. Taeyang spread his wings slightly in a gesture of unity, and Bora's shadow touched all of theirs, connecting them. Your application is approved. The chamber erupted. The Earth delegation embraced all 5 species together. Hyunwoo felt tears on his face. Daehyun laughed with pure joy. Sujin maintained her military bearing but couldn't hide her smile. Minna actually jumped up and down like the young person she was. Thel waited for the celebration to calm down before continuing. But understand this. Earth is not joining the Council as 5 separate species. Earth is joining as one unified world. You will have 1 seat on the Council, 1 voice, 1 vote. You must work together to determine how to use them. Ji-won nodded, understanding. We accept those terms. There is more, Thel said. Earth's achievement is unprecedented. Other worlds will look to you as an example. You must prove that multiple intelligent species can not just coexist, but thrive together. The galaxy will be watching. We understand the responsibility, Yuri said. Thel's colors brightened. Then welcome, people of Earth, to the Galactic Council. Welcome to the community of stars. The journey back to Earth was celebratory. The crew of the Harmony sent messages home sharing the news. By the time they returned, Earth was ready to celebrate. The ships landed simultaneously again, this time to crowds of all 5 species gathered together. Humans, Scaled Ones, Deep Ones, Skyfolk, and Shadowkin all celebrated together. The barriers that had separated them for thousands of years were finally breaking down. Ji-won gave a speech to the gathered crowds, broadcast across the planet. Today, Earth takes its place among the stars, not as humanity, not as 5 separate species, but as one world united. We prove that differences make us stronger, not weaker. We show